Hey, true believers, Chris Mack coming at you with an action figure today that I've been biting at the bit to get. I was initially on the fence, but growing up with the show, I had to have this in my collection. This is the Marvel Legends X-Men the Animated Series Hasbro Pulse exclusive Morph. And if you guys want to pick this up, as I just said, it is a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, so you may want to check on their website. If not, as I always say, please first and foremost support your local comic shop and grab it there or wherever it is you like to pick up your comics and your figures. Now, even though I hate this plastic-free packaging, at least the box art is awesome. This looks like something that you would pick up back in the day for VHSs. Like, this could actually be the Knights of the Sentinels Part 1 and 2 VHS box. I got the little trade dressing there, X-Men Marvel's Morph, and then of course him running from the Mutant Registration Act Center. You got X-Men Marvel's Morph. On the side you get a cool little rendition there, and then I love here it says MVL, where it's actually supposed to be VHS, and it actually has the little slot. For those of you that are not old like me, what they would do on the VHS is they'd have these little hoops so that you could go and grab your tape instead of having to shake it out. So that's what the nostalgia of this box is. There's nothing really on the bottom. Come around to the back, there's a read-up, so I'll make sure you get a close-up so you can check it out at your convenience. Here, this is the 3D render of what the figure is supposed to look like, and I wish instead that they would have given us some really cool morph art like we got in the original X-Men Adventures comic book. Come around to the side, same thing with the VHS here, as the little hoop-de-hoop and the MVL where VHS is supposed to be. And that is it for the packaging. And real quick, if you guys have never seen inside these things, the reason I get so aggravated about these plastic-free packaging is, other than the fact that for those that are sold in stores, you don't know if you're, if there's like one of those fakey returns where people will put faux figures inside the box. But look at this. This is how the figure comes, and then the figure comes with their accessories come in these stupid little tissue things. So what I did is these can rip easily, as you can kind of see here, but I just put them in the little plastic sandwich baggies because I'm not having it, you know what I mean? And he's just like the mummy. And anyway, speaking of the figure, let's go ahead and get him out of his tissue burial ground here and take a closer look at him. And here's Evil Morph out of the packaging. And as you can see, once you get him out of that craptacular plastic-free packaging, you get him posed, he looks awesome. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to my buddy at Woodrome Illustrations for making me the trash can, the skull, and that nice little piece of rubble that he is standing on. Always appreciate the props, bro. You do great work. I'll make sure to leave his page down in the description. But anyway, there are some things about this morph that are going to drive you nuts. But overall, if you're a longtime fan like I am, or you just happen to find the animated series on Disney Plus and just fell in love with it, this figure is for you. So let's get him off the spinner and get a closer look at him. Morph was created specifically for X-Men, the animated series. Though he is loosely based off of Changeling, also known as Kevin Sidney, an adversary of the X-Men during the late 60s who died later wanting to atone for his evil ways and was recruited by Professor X. He was created by Roy Thomas and Werner Roth, first appearing in X-Men number 35 from August 1967. If the name Kevin Sidney sounds familiar to you, this is the same morph from Earth 295, the Age of Apocalypse. Now going back to 616, Changeling impersonated Xavier at, Charles's request and later died preventing the destruction of Earth by the villain Grotesque. Now originally for the animated series, it was supposed to be Thunderbird who died in Night in the Sentinels Part 2, but since the character died in his second mission for the X-Men, if you remember from X-Men number, 985? Yeah, like it was Claremont's second book, yeah. However, they decided to use Morph as a throwaway character, intended to die so the producers could show off the dangers the X-Men faced. Now, from what I understand, they changed his name to Morph so there would be no confusion with DC's Teen Titans Changeling, aka Beast Boy, and he was voiced by Ron Rubin. Morph became such a fan favorite, he was reintroduced in the second season after he died in what was it? Mr. Sinister brought him back to life, and he was kind of evil there for a moment. Now, in the comic series, X-Men Adventures started in November of 1992 that followed the TV show. Morph's death in issue 2 is a lot more intense than it was portrayed on the show. I highly recommend this series, the comic series, as well as the show if you've never seen it. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk about the accessories that Morph comes with. And sadly, for a character that can can change form, not a lot. We get this gentle head as we see here, the more kind of stoic look, which it looks like him, but he was kind of the class clown. He was the jokester of the group. So I kind of wish we could have gotten like a laughing head or a smiling head, because even before his death, he was laughing, saying, yeah, we did it, da-da-da-da-da. But sadly, we just kind of get that head. And then we get Evil Morph head. And I really like this one. It adds the bags under the eyes to show that he was under Mr. Sinister's control, and kind of helped differentiate when he was both good and evil, fighting with both struggles inside of him. Just like with the other headpiece, the hair looks good, but I like that it's a lot more messy. Though I wish that we could have gotten, like if y'all remember from the Walgreens exclusive Mystique, she came with a head that was half and half, part rogue, part her. Something like that, just to showcase his morphing abilities. Let me just drop that dome there. But just getting that head sculpt, when it comes to accessories, I'll take what I can get. Speaking of, at least he gets one punching hand and one resting hand, which I have on the character there, and then the other two here. And that's literally it for accessories. And it's just sort of like, come on, can we gotten some more? And that's it. Literally, that's it. And just frustrating. But as I just said, we'll sign. I'll take what I can get. Now for the paint apps, as I was just talking about with the other head, is I like that the evil one has the bags, the more sinister grin, the more messy hair, and then the regular X-Men version, even though that stoic look, but at least the hair is proper, looks right. Coat looks good. And then of course his yellow X-Men uniform looks great. Love the X. Love the X. Now, one thing compared to like the Cyclopses that I have and the Havocs and is look at this. All these ropes, they're actually attached. They're not looping like he's got loose drawers. Oh, who would have thought? And look at this. Dare I say we have pinless joints? Oh my goodness, that's exciting. But one glaring thing, well, real quick, before we get into the glaring thing, coat looks great. You can kind of tell that was taken from Cyclops. But, of course, Marf, we're going to call him Marf, the mutant named Marf. He rocked this jacket even though it got blasted away when he was unalived in the Night of the Sentinels. But anyway, that aside, paint apps look great as we could see. Flesh tones look great. But what I hate is you can kind of see it here on the arm, like this black line, and then like this kind of darkish brown line. And then down the legs, you kind of get like this yellow look. This is supposed to be like a cell-shaded type thing, and I'll be honest, I don't like it. If you remember, and I'll leave a link somewhere, we did the GameStop New 52 Superman, the Jim Lee one that was cell-shaded, and the cell shade was black, and it was like everywhere, like he'd actually taken an inker. But this, not so much on the coat, but right here on the legs and the boots, it looks like that light color, it looks like he peed himself. Like he saw that sentinel outside the mutant registration center and just was like, oh God. And so we got pee-pee down the legs. It's not so noticeable on the coat, but I don't like it. I just wish that they maybe would have just left that alone and maybe used a darker paint. But I'm sure they wanted to differentiate this, the X-Men, the animated series versus the regular Legends line. So whatever, minus the P. Well, yeah, we're not going to talk about the P. Anyway, that's the paint apps in a nutshell. Minus, as I just said, we're not going to go back over it again, but that Other than that, I can let other things go. I love it, just in general. Now, as for the articulation, his head can go down that much, go up. It's on a dumbbell joint, so you can kind of get it up there. You just have to watch out for the coat. That's what's causing the stoppage there. Go that way, that way. Nice range of motion all around, so you can at least get some good expressions. There, twist, twist. Goes down really far. And minus the coat getting in the way, it goes back pretty good as well. Arms, of course, 360. Thankfully, the coat doesn't hinder it. Go up that much. And as I always say, guys, make sure to warm these up. When I took him out of the packaging, these joints were so damn tight. I just put him in some hot water for a few minutes, and he was good to go once he cooled off. And of course, he has the bicep swivel, 90-degree elbow. Hands can go down, hands can go up. Got the nice motion. There, legs, boom, legs, boom. Butt flap stops the back, boom. So, upper thigh cut, double jointed knees, boot cut, thankfully. Foot go up, foot go down, foot go side, side, side. So minus the paint app thing that we just talked about, the Yellow River, I'm happy with those, especially since the coat on Marf is flappy, so you can kind of get a nice expression there. And I like the range of motion that he has. Not a whole lot of hindrances like with some characters, so I can't complain. Overall, you get a well-rounded figure in those terms, minus some pea-stained X-Men uniform stuff. Now here's Morph next to the animated series team. Granted, these are not the VHS versions that they just recently released. This is the Love Triangle 3-pack of Cyclops, Wolverine, and Jean, the Caliban, Build-A-Figure Wave, Beast, and this is the retro-carded Gambit, Storm, and Rogue, which I love this one so much more than the Apocalypse Build-A-Figure Wave version, or is it Juggernaut? Either way, that's neither here nor there. You get your X-Men together, you put them on a shelf, pose them, and Morph just seamlessly blends in with all of these characters. And I mean, look at this. You want to see here, you want to go na-na-na-na-na-na-na, na-na-na-na-na, and you just want to start moving them all like in the intro of the cartoon. Now, with all that gushing aside, there's one thing that I'm going to complain about. So we're going to take Morph here out of his running pose. And put him here ever so here. And then the other one that we want is the Love Triangle Slim. Now, this is kind of what I was talking about during the paint apps. Look at how Cyclops' colors are a lot more darker than Morph's. I don't know why they felt the need to kind of lighten these up, maybe to differentiate animated series compared to comic. I don't know, Slim's sitting there freaking mad dogging him. Now, again, I love how on the boots and on his leg pieces, how they are attached, whatever. But look at this, bloop, bloop. That's one thing about these older figures I hate, is all these, like, why did they feel the need that those, and look at, he dropped his drawers and was getting ready to take a whiz or something. So, in terms of good and bad, I'm glad that everything's attached and is not going to droop, but I love the color scheme, and I wish that they would have removed the cell shading, because look how dark Cyclops' jacket is, along with Rogue's there in the back, but look at how bright they made his. And then, of course, that cell shading on it just kind of takes it off. So I can't complain too much, because still you put them side by side like this and they look awesome. They look like the X-Men. So that's probably just one of my major gripes, is the cell shading and how they kind of lightened up the colors compared to some of the older teammates. But other than that, you get your X-Men team together, you put them on a shelf like I was just talking about, and they are going to look absolutely fantastic. How do you guys plan to pose your figures? Are you going to do photography If you do, or if you want to take pictures of your setup, let us see them over on our social media pages. I am happy to have Morph in my collection. I was a longtime fan of him on the show, as well as the Adventures comic book, even though it was 2 issues, but nonetheless. Oh no, and of course came back for season 2. Anyway, yes, it has its problems. Like I said, the cell shading looked like he peed himself. I wish that we would have gotten some more accessories or just something to showcase his morphing ability. But like I said, with the 5-pack that we just went over, we could not have a morph at all. So setting the blemishes aside, I'm thrilled, I'm elated to have this in my collection. And if you guys have enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or where it is you like to pick up your comics or books. If not, then I'd say at the time of this recording, like we talked about at the beginning of the review, check out Hasbro Pulse to grab this. Because if not, then you're going to have to do the third-party market, which is always... yeah. And if you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that fancy little morph bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with you all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below or our social media pages, which I will make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, photo slideshow coming up next. Thank you all so much for stopping by, and I hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.